Good afternoon, my beauty professionals. Today we're going to be talking about acrylics. So if you've been watching along with my nail series, you know that so far I've done nail tips, I've done silk wraps. Now we're getting to, well, my favorite part, acrylics. So today in this video, I'm going to focus in on the monomer, which is the acrylic liquid. And I want to tell you the difference between MMA, which is methyl methacrylate, and EMA, which is ethyl methacrylate, how it affects you as a nail technician or a cosmo who works with these chemicals, and how it affects consumers when they're buying retail at-home products. So first, I want to thank you so much for watching my videos. I want to thank you for your support. God bless you. And let's get into it. So I've already shared with you the names: methyl methacrylate, which is MMA, ethyl methacrylate, which is EMA. Most professional products, if it's professional, uses EMA. So I'm going to tell you the difference. The difference is the molecular structure in the liquid. Why does that matter? So MMA is the first acrylic anyway, right? So before EMA, it was all MMA. It's dental acrylic. So what they found was when making crowns for the teeth, it doesn't go into the bloodstream, but when placing it on the nails, the monomer molecule is so little that it penetrates through the nail plate, and underneath the nail plate is your nail bed, which is covered in blood vessels and nerves, which means that it goes right into your system. So what they found was people, well, I remember my friend told me that, who's an educator also, that she knew of people, one of them that passed away and they had traces of monomer in their system. Reproductive harm is one issue back then. And so MMA technically was banned by the FDA years ago in the 70s. But now I'm going to tell you a little later in this video the updates on the stance of MMA and if it's still banned, right? So just remember the difference, the molecular structure. MMA is too tiny for nail plates. It goes right into the bloodstream. Not only that, it does other damage that I'm going to tell you about later in this video. EMA, the molecules are larger, so when you make that acrylic, it won't penetrate into the nail plate, but it will sit on top. So the difference that you, as the person who is getting their nails done, what you would see, and I hate to say this, but if this scenario happened, let's say if you nicked your hand and your nail broke, what you would experience is maybe a little tug on your nail plate, and you may get a couple of layers torn away, but the acrylic will pop off. If it's MMA, because the molecule is so tiny that it actually goes into the nail plate, that means when the acrylic cured, it's actually partially in your nail plate as well as sitting on top. So if you broke your nail, the same experience would not happen. In fact, that acrylic would tug away some of your nail, if not all of it. So those are the differences that you as the consumer may notice. MMA, EMA. Okay, so the FDA did ban MMA back in the 70s. But now over the years, they've lifted that ban, right? Who knows why? But now the concern is consumers are purchasing products, nail products for at home, and it has MMA in it. Now this I did not know, and it explains a lot because I have contact dermatitis from doing acrylics. What I didn't know is that some of these at-home gels that I've been buying has MMA in it, because my nails have been reacting to some of the gels that I use. And I couldn't understand why, but now it makes so much sense. Now my concern is, what gel do I use for at home that does not have MMA in it? So I'm going to have to go back to my gelish, which I was used to working with, I haven't really played around with Young Nails gel polishes or C&D, the shellac. When shellac first came out, I wasn't too much of a fan of it, but I know they've come a long way and they have some nice colors too. So anyway, be that as it may, be mindful of the products that you're using at home because you may be exposing yourself. Man, I've polished my grandchildren's nails, my granddaughters, we're having a little gel nail polish party and I could have exposed them to MMA, which I'm not happy about. But this is what I found out. So the thing is called DTSC. You can look it up for yourself. That's the Department of Toxic Substances. So they have updated info as recent as 2020, where they had a public, like a public meeting workshop type thing. And it really goes into detail about MMA. I mean, like it draws out the molecule of what the monomer structure is for MMA, breaks down some of the things, how it affects us all, cosmos, nail techs, consumers that are buying these products, retail. So I thought that was very interesting because one of the things is skin. It affects your skin big time, and respiratory, which I notice, and that could be why I suffer so much too, because I have allergies really bad, and me not thinking it's my nails, it could possibly be from my nails. So, all right, so this is information from the DTSC that I found in researching. Now, keep in mind, this is not just with gel polishes, it's not just with acrylic liquid, but this is also in some nail polishes, which is quite scary because I never knew that. I always knew formaldehyde and toluene and the battle over the years of getting that out of nail polishes, which I'll talk to you in another video at some point, but I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that acrylic liquid would be in there, and let alone the dental acrylic that can go into your bloodstream. Yeah. So anyway, I want to share with you some of the things that you may notice. Now, keep in mind, there's so many people at home now buying their own nail stuff. So there's a bigger scope now of people out there that may be suffering, and these are the reasons why. And this is just to tell you how MMA affects you. I haven't really gotten into how EMA affects, but as of now, it is approved and it is considered safe to work with. But I will say this, keep in mind that when you're doing acrylics, liquid should never be getting on your skin, whether it's EMA or MMA. It does not belong on the skin. So when I show you my demo, I'm going to go into detail about that, about how there's a 1-to-1 ratio, how you don't double dip in the liquid to smash down a bead, because then you're oversaturating that client's skin and their cuticle area, and you could cause them to develop contact dermatitis over time. So let's see, some of the health risks. One is nail damage, permanent nail damage, respiratory problems, infections, and most importantly, pain in the fingers. You could have eczema around the mouth, the throat, and the eyes. Now this, keep in mind now, this is from nail products that you could be buying from a big retail store, using at home, and all of a sudden you have eczema really bad around your mouth, your throat, and your eyes, not knowing that it's coming from your nail products, whether that be polish, gel polish, or acrylic liquid. Yeah, so 90% of samples that were done at home with UV nail gel polishes, they found some form of acrylates or methacrylates in them. and some of them may have contained MMA. Some of the studies showed that people at home that used UV gel polishes acquired permanent nail damage, eczema, like I said, severe pain, and respiratory problems. And there was a part in there, so if you get a chance to look it up for yourself, where they had a massive amount of injuries from children under the ages of 6. Because remember now, you may buy your kid some nail polishes to play around with, and you're thinking it's okay, but it has, you know, this ingredient in it, MMA, that does great harm, and they have to be rushed to the hospital. So in that part, I think that's all I want to tell you guys. As of right now, like I said, there's no federal restrictions on the use of MMA. But like I said, you could be fined by the state if you're discovered. But now I'm going to tell you, how would you know? Okay, so I described to you a little bit how you would have an idea if it's MMA or EMA. Keep in mind that EMA, the molecules are larger, so the good thing is it sits on top of the nail plate and it doesn't go in the nail plate and cure itself. So if you broke it, the acrylic pops off, but not your nail. That's one thing. 2, it's easier to soak off because it is sitting on top. It's not embedded into your nail plate. The molecules are larger, which means the links may be looser, so then it comes off a lot easier. Usually to soak off acrylics, it takes between 20 to 25 minutes if you're soaking in pure acetone. Now what you'll find is if it is methyl methacrylate, it takes a lot longer because it's like trying to soak off concrete off the nails. And keep in mind, if they overfiled the nails, those pits are filled in with concrete pretty much. Very hard to come off. Very brittle. So acrylics take around about 48 hours to cure. And so when you first get your nails done, if you tap them on the table and then tap them like 2 days later, you'll notice how it has a more crisp sound. And I know I've mentioned this in earlier acrylic videos. With methyl methacrylate, it's a lot more crisp, right? I mean, like really crisp. It just has a different look. So as a professional, when you get into doing nails, you will be able to tell the difference. It has a very strong odor. A lot of times if you go in a nail salon and they have masks on, of course, they're not going to give you a mask. Well, they might since COVID happened. But a lot of times back in the day, they would not give you a mask. They worked with a mask, which they didn't know wasn't really protecting them anyway. But they wear a mask. They have the pumps with the liquid in it. Most likely you won't see anywhere around what kind of brand they're using. And their polymer or the acrylic powder is usually in a big wooden bowl. So when someone spends more money on a product, you will see it showcased around. So like if I'm using Young Nails or OPI or C&D or what was the other one? Was it Northern Lights? You know, products like that, you'll see it because I'm spending more money on these products. So like for a size of monomer, I want to say it's about this big of is that C&D? The C&D liquid, I want to say, well, this I'm going based off of like 5 years ago, $70 for a big thing like that. Liquid, dental acrylic is a lot cheaper, right? So they can charge cheaper for their full sets. And that's another thing I was going to say, the pricing in the full sets. So if you're paying really cheap for your full sets, it's most likely they're using dental acrylic. And yeah, that's about it. Because when they're not spending much money on it, everything's covered up. You won't see at their station what they're using. But when they're spending more money, You'll see it at their station. You'll be like, oh, okay, they're using C&D liquid. Oh, okay, they're using OPI. Oh, okay, they're using Young Nails. Yeah, because it's costly. And then I charge you more money starting off. Now, I don't know how it goes now, but like a few years back, we would start off at least at $65 for a full set. That's not including nail art or none of that. Usually with nail art, you're charging $3 to $5 per nail. It may charge a little more now, but that's around about the price range, between $65, $70. Why is that? Because I'm investing from the money that you're giving me to do your full set. I'm investing back into the products that I need to do your nails, which is more expensive. The files and buffers, those aren't expensive. So that's why I never understood. No, I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, just saying. They're cheaper. Let's see. Strong odor, very irritating to the skin. I forgot to mention that too. So it takes around about 4 to 6 months for someone to acquire contact dermatitis. It's not something that's contagious. It's a skin disease or disorder, you could say, that you cannot get rid of. It depends on your mindset. For me, I tend to be a fighter. So when I had something like that, I had to tell myself mentally, okay, what are you going to do, Vonnie? Are you going to quit teaching? Because I had uncontrollable itching. My skin was shedding off. I would wake up with bloody hands from scratching all night. It almost ruined my career. And I thought I was going to have to stop teaching nails and hair. And then I finally had to make the decision to stop scratching. And that was like torture for me, literally. But I was determined to not let this disorder get the best of me. And I brought it all on myself. So I had to learn the hard way so I can tell you. But unfortunately, this isn't just a professional thing now. Now consumers are getting contact dermatitis and they're getting nail damage at home and having reactions on their skin, possible breathing problems like asthma or something else, and they're not knowing it's from their nail polish. So I'm making this video to educate you on the difference between MMA and EMA, not just for acrylic liquids, but also in products that you may be buying for at-home use if you're not a professional, and in the salons. But now here's the thing that I wanted to mention. The consumer may be at a greater risk because they don't have the proper ventilation in their homes when they're doing the nails, as you, a nail tech or a cosmo who's doing nails, may have in the salon, right? So we have to educate our clients, and if they're going to be doing their nails at home, we should be selling them retail. We should have the cute little mini packs that they could buy from us, so that at least we know they're using professional things at home and not harming themselves. But from what I see here, this information from 2020, I'm assuming that's when COVID happened. A lot of salons were shut down. So I would think there was a big boom in retail sales with nail things. People were doing their own hair and nails. But now we're back. So just a little food for thought. And in the next video, I'm going to be describing more about the supplies that you need for acrylics and going over some other things like acrylic powders and all of that before we get started with the demonstration. And also I'm going to be doing, going to kind of step aside from the nail videos to do a hair cutting video at request of one of my students. So I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And I don't think, is there anything else I wanted to tell you? Nope. That's it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.